Damn! Okay, sorry. Anyways, oh yeah, transition. I think I am not forgetting anything. I am not so sure. I try my best to not forget anything. I think I. Okay, no, I shouldn't be forgetting anything at all. So yeah, we're kind of fine. Anyways, let me as always close this, get this over here to check the frame rate. This over here, this over here, okay. And this, copy this to from here to here. This, oh yeah, well. What the fuck? What? What? What the fuck? Okay. And okay, that. With that said, hello. Hello, welcome every single human, every single soul that decided to tune in for tonight, that decided to watch the VOD, that decided to whatever it is that you decided to be here. As always, welcome to those who are hearing, those who are watching, those who are lurking, those who already muted the fucking stream. Welcome to anybody. Welcome, very welcome. Welcome also to me, as always. We welcome to Ginkgo, and well, no, nobody else to say welcome today. Well, yeah, nothing else to really say. Now I shall really start with my banana. I had it like already for half an hour outside of the fridge, so it is probably already hot. Let me see. Let me build this stuff and let me taste it. Here we. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting something? I don't really know. I'm not screaming or what? I don't understand what is the problem. No, yeah, so far I don't even know why. Oh, well, yeah, in a sense, we can talk about the concept of me finally ordering the mic, because I said in the tweet that I got the money. I didn't. I had to use my own money, but at the same time I had money, so that's why I use it. But yeah, we finally have the microphone coming to my house. I pray to God. Somehow I didn't dox myself. I hope I didn't. And well, the probabilities of any single human knowing that it is me who is streaming, so to speak, from the other side are so infinitesimal that I might as well disregard it. At least for now. I don't know what the fuck will I do when I get bigger. I probably will have to create another direction or post office box and all of that to receive packages, because personally, if I were to receive them in my house, I will be kind of fucked. But anyways, well, I don't know. I don't really think. I hope things don't go that way. Mostly, that is what I wanted to say. I don't think it will happen, but if it happens, I might as well try to do my best to avoid it. So yeah, we have the microphone coming to the potato. We nothing really else that is that much important. I don't know. The banana doesn't taste any kind of funky at all. I would even say it is very nice. And also, sorry, Ginko, for not reading your whole copy pasta, but I am not going to read a copy pasta. We don't do that stuff here, you know. So sorry. I should remember that you posted that. And it isn't that I am not seeing the chat. Oh well, what? No, it was the first message. No, I am such a failure. Sorry, every single bye. I, but I try my best. I cannot believe this. I failed already. I am the worst. Anyways, we did the emotes. We also did we do anything else? Oh well, yeah. Well, I was almost in a sleeping state. We read some Mahabharata. So that happened. That really ended up happening. I didn't thought I was going to do 3 streams today, so it is surprising for me to see that really being a reality. So yeah, beautiful. I don't think anything else really happened aside from the microphone that I already said. Well, the only thing that I don't know if happened today or not is when I ordered the microphone. That is something that really I'll already forget when it happened, so I don't want to go and check. So yeah, we will leave it at I don't know, but I ordered the mic some day of this last possible 24 hours, no, 48 hours probably, because I am not so sure about doing that yesterday. I think I didn't do that yesterday. So, but at the same time, I also have no proof at all. So we will see what happens. I saw from that. Another one of the very interesting things that happened was well, in a sense, I don't really like to talk about it, but mostly because thinking it from an outsider perspective, I don't really know how much it will mean to me to know that, so to speak. Or not that I wouldn't know how much that would mean, rather how much will it really give me to know that. But at the same time, I would like to know that it happens, so at the very least, I will try to say it. Today, well, in general, almost every single day, in a sense, I advance with the fucking cultivation of the potato itself. It is, in a sense, incredible because you can see how much, if you really put the work, you can develop the mind, in a sense. And in the other hand, it happens that I was talking about this specifically today because I really was had a kind of a big day, so to speak, in the sense. And I was thinking also about it because even if I wanted to give it a percentage of advancement, it becomes more and more impossible in a sense. Mostly, I think it is because the more you advance, in my case, I am choking on banana. What the fuck? Okay, nothing happened. Where go? Sorry. As I was saying, in my case, it happens that as I advance a little bit more every single day, or every single time that I do so, I realize that in one hand I advance, and in the other, I became even more aware of how much do I have left to do. Or if it isn't in the same moment that I advanced, it is when I go back and look at what I really learned from the experiences that I have, that I also notice the incredible amount of things that I still need to delve into and spend, so to speak, my time looking forward to. In a sense, not completely confirmed, but in a sense, basically. So yes, that yeah, that basically mostly that. Nothing really else to say because it really feels great at the very least to know that even if I am not, or even if I might not even know at any given point in my whole life where the end is, the simple fact that I am still advancing feels greater than knowing I didn't do it. Because also, personally, I try my best to not go back to those things that I already know, in a sense, because I want to really learn what I already learned. So I try to avoid going back to those things. Therefore, I put my not my whole, it is physically impossible, but I try to always put my best into learning anything that I do. So yeah, I really feel in that sense that every single day is at the very least an advance. I wouldn't say, as I said before, for example, that I am 10% there on the way of the cultivation mind or anything like that, but rather at least I am advancing in personally sense. On yeah, based on my own terms. That is how would I say it. And well, yeah, I guess that's it. Also, just in case I already ended with my fucking banana, so I will go deal with that and I don't really feel like going to the bathroom, so it won't take that much. But probably we'll have a break to go to the bathroom. Probably later on. And also, fuck us. Literally comes out of nowhere. Yeah, happens. It tends to happen. Um, Wait, this is my fucking channel, so we will place the guitar a little bit louder. We will play it a little bit louder. Okay, like that is fine. Uh, it literally was 4 decibels, so nobody can really complain. It was on minus 44, now it is on minus 39. It is the same stuff. Do not complain. I don't know, sorry. I guess what I would really say to somebody who doesn't like it, find a song that you really would like to hear on a loop and give it to the potato. That is my best response. A song that you will enjoy to hear every single day of your life, because this is one of those that, at the very least, I do not find myself comfortable hearing on loop. So yeah, I wouldn't. Oh wait. Know that I really feel better. We are going to do this. There it is, a little bit closer to the cascade. Yeah. Water. Now, where the fuck was I? Um, well, yeah, I was thinking about a lot of stuff today, especially because it was a kind of a long day, not in the sense that by itself it was long, but rather because somehow it became incredibly long. I don't know how to say it. Somehow it was like I okay. The day itself was I wake up, I did my daily stuff, I did a little bit of streaming. After that, more daily stuff like eating my what is it dinner? No, the one on that we did on the day. Fucking almuerzo. Well, that one, the one that you eat on the afternoon slash morning. That one, not breakfast. The next one. We ate that. I did some more daily stuff. I came back to okay. I didn't directly stream. After that, I kind of spent like an hour or so, mostly doing other stuff like, in a sense, a little bit of entertainment because I cannot avoid it. But at the same time, it was also, for example, I always try to hear a little bit of something that could be interesting, like ideas and all of that. So as always, I did that. After that bit, I really, as I said before, I did my streaming. Oh yeah, the early morning was the drawing streaming one, and at the evening we had the Mahabharata reading, and that was when I was energetically speaking at my lowest. I was so fucking tired. It was, in a sense, almost hurtful, so to speak. I don't even know why the fuck I am so awake right now, because I really was feeling like if I were to close my eyes for 1 minute, not even more, I was going to fall completely asleep. In that moment, or after I ended up, I finished reading, so to speak, the Mahabharata. So yeah, it was weird to see that happen. But at the same time, after that after that I kind of take a mental break, kind of, and after that I continued with my whole daily stuff. After which, after which I came back to here, started kind of preparing. I think I today started preparing for the stream like at 00:15, something like that. It took me like half an hour or so. But well, I cannot avoid it. Also, that's why I don't like to go 15 minutes before a stream. If there is something that I not only I saw isn't as good as doing, and personally I really hate this to see somebody 15 minutes of waiting. What? What? What the fuck? Don't you start streaming 3 minutes before, like I do, 1 minute before really starting stream? What is so difficult about it? Personally, I can shield myself behind the excuse of, oh yeah, I have to start 3 minutes earlier stream because if I don't do so, my PC explodes when I have to go to every single page and every single site, leaving my socials to go and watch the stream. Yeah. But if that happens, it's because I have literally a potato PC, not because anything else, and I cannot change that fact. I cannot do anything different about that. So I have to accept it and understand that 3 minutes is the bare minimum sometimes that I need to give my PC to work. But some people that literally have those $7,000 PC, what the fuck are you doing spending so much time? I guess the only way or the only place where I could kind of understand it is, for example, in a sense of being completely meta, sorry as always, completely meta, those who are big streamers, for example, because you kind of have to set up everything and you have to check if you have like 20 different scenes and like different skits planned out and all of that, go over them once again just in case you are not so sure if they are going to work or not or things like that. But even then, I do not completely agree in the idea of 15 minutes of wait. Even if, for example, you say, I do it because I want audience to be all present when I really start streaming, or not to have to constantly say hello. Personally, I am not so sure that somebody, for example, who has 300 viewers already, or even 100 viewers sometimes, stops to say hello to every single chatter that goes in, says, at the very least, claims the lurking stuff or anything like that. So, in a sense, it is not so real, or I don't think about it that way. I don't think it is because that is the real reason. I don't find why would you do that. At the end of the day, I would even say, talking about numbers, it is kind of more hurtful to do it than to simply start 3 minutes earlier. But at the same time, I don't completely understand Twitch algorithm. Therefore, I am probably only creating defenses against my Vtuber argument. I am always right, therefore I need to create the perfectly shielded argument to destroy everything else that comes my way. I probably that, so yeah, bullshit as always, as I would say. So yeah, before doing that, let me see what else do I have in my mind that I could speak a little bit. Oh yeah, well, while I was gone, I was thinking. I jumped from the idea of having claim what order my mic to the idea of also having not only my mic order, but very probably being one of those handheld mics. And from that idea, I jumped back to one of my, in a sense, favorite places or favorite podcasts to watch. And from that idea, I ended up also jumping to the concept that it is a podcast that is in Spanish, and even if it is in Spanish, it probably not only is not translated, but it literally makes zero sense as to why potato is as it is in some ways, because you will kind of expect something that I am pretty sure I already watched like 100 hours of that fucking podcast at this point in my life. So it is very expectable to see that, well, yeah, this really gives Potato a kind of explanation as to why he is the way he is. Mm, but even if you were to speak Spanish correctly, I don't think we will be able to find from the podcast that I watch the most. The also, sorry for not saying it, Show Interneto, the only podcast that I really watch a lot. One, not one, literally the only one I follow, so to speak, on a daily basis, and not really daily. I love to let them stack and I love to go over them in a collection, so to speak, when they were already stacked and all of that. So it wasn't really a daily update that I had, and also now is not on hiatus. They take breaks that are very long because they are very, in a sense, weird. They have a very rare format, so yeah. But aside from that, even the podcast itself doesn't give away how Potato came to be, so to speak. Because the most similar thing that I always find I have with them, from only my point of view, is the idea of loving to talk about those things that are inner to the profession, so to speak. Not to, especially myself, not to the real profession, because literally how many 2 months only on this. So if I call myself a professional, it makes zero sense. And I also, in a sense, am degrading those who are real professionals in this. I wouldn't say so far that myself holding the mic like I do and literally having the lowest quality possible in almost every single way is really doing something amazing. So yeah, but aside from that, uh, the the only thing, as I was saying, that shows or kind of relates to the potato itself is the concept of me doing and going over those inner parts of the work and inner parts of what is an occurrence on the, in this case, VTuber life. In their case, it was more kind of YouTuber and social influencer and all of that life. But yeah, aside from that, I don't know. For example, something that I never talk about is Well, in a sense, I also do not talk about it because it is mostly in my past, but literally nothing is negating me the possibility, for example, of going over my days of being kind of drug addict or being also someone who ended up in, I think, in 1 month, for example, uh, a very very addicted person to video games when I was younger and things like that. I At the very least I talk about them, but in a kind of philosophical way, and I don't really dwell on my personal life somehow. So yeah, as I was saying, it is kind of weird to see that I talk about so many things, yet I have so few commonalities, so to speak, between what I do and what there was to relate me to anything else, in a sense. But even if that is true, there also there also are a lot of different places to find correlations that I might not even be aware of. Mostly because, as always, it is impossible to completely notice one's own one's own shadow, because we are the ones that really produce our own shadow. Therefore, we cannot separate ourselves from the body to completely observe that. In this case, I cannot completely avoid the reality of not being able to see from a completely outsider perspective what made me do or formed me the way that I am right now, in that sense. So yeah, but anyways, I mostly wanted more than anything else to say that yeah, favorite podcast and one of the favorite few places that I would really recommend to anybody, mostly to those who speak Spanish because they are from fucking Spain, and one of them is, for example, from Malaga, one of the places where they tend to explore the world more. Therefore, if you don't even have that much preparation, you might as well not even understand what they are speaking, you know. So yeah, if for example you were to try and listen to what they are saying there, and as a non-native Spanish speaker, you might not have the easiest time. There are a lot of different places to start, but if you're feeling like that, go and watch it. I personally think it is literally one of the best. Also, it is that kind of idea that is born from the concept of having already sink in so many hours. Probably, but we're not discussing that right now. So yeah, name, show, comma, internet. That place. Now I think yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. So let me pull this. Let me this. Let me 31, 15. Look at this. Now we really are finished with this starting, and in this case we are really going to go into the particular talks, topics, and things similar to that we have to go over today. Okay, as always, just in case, we are talking about topics that I already kind of have a basic knowledge, or I am confident that I can explain something interesting about the idea itself, rather than to ramble trying to find anything at all to say. So yeah, that in one hand, also the other, we have a list of 4 things. I commonly place it on the chat, and well, I also have it here, so no need to worry about where I am or where I am not. It is time for real. First topic. We're going to talk about understanding what is right and what is not. Well, in the sense, the preface of this concept was, um, as I have kind of shown before, I did in the spur of the moment a list to have topics to source to, basically, to not have to come up every single time with new ideas, or not new ideas, new short-term concepts. So that is where I place this, and in this case, if I'm not wrong, I don't completely remind that is also why I in these cases tend to go over random things in a sense. It is because I am not so sure about what I meant. I think I was talking about, in a sense, the concept of forming oneself morality, or owns moralities. Why? Because okay, now into the real topic, just in case the title, understanding what is right and what is not, into the concept of developing oneself, not only arguments and different concepts about what is right, what is wrong, what might be not so good, not so bad. We commonly, or not commonly, if I'm not wrong, it was psychology who decided to say that we are born with a complete lack, in a sense, of knowledge about what is really good and what is really bad. We tend to prove by ourselves when we are really kids, and when we are growing, we end up learning from what others tell us that is really good or really bad, and therefore we form the concepts that lie in our mind about what really is good, what really is worthy, what is bad, what might be harmful, what anything like that. And the concept here that I wanted to talk about, or that today I wanted to talk about, was the possibility of revising those concepts, because it is, for example, okay, one of the most simple examples that you can provide to anybody is something like this. If you were to give a children and an adult, let's say someone who is 20 years old, you will probably prefer not the children, but rather the adult, to give both of them the possibility of driving. In one hand, we will almost say that the children shouldn't even be driving or trying to learn how to drive. In the other hand, if you have an adult who is, how do I say, 30 years old, you might give them the possibility of trying to learn how to drive, because they have a whole different array of things that complement the idea of driving, and that also complement the possibility of learning anything about driving and all of that. And it isn't by itself something that you will see, because it is kind of logical. It comes from the notion and from the acceptance that ones are more developed than others. In this case, we are talking about, or trying to interpolate that into something that can be interpreted this way. You might have to, in a sense, analyze what are those things that you thought you really didn't have the permission to do before, to see if you might as well have them now, so to speak, or not the permission, rather the possibility. Because, for example, going back to the baby and adult thing, or baby and adult driving, the baby, it isn't that he does not have the possibility, he might not have the knowledge about driving, but the possibility itself, as long as the key has the keys, as long as the car has the keys, the baby might start driving without really knowing what he's doing. But in the other hand, if the adult human, 30 years old, starts to learn how to drive or tries to drive any kind of vehicle, he might as well also have a little bit of knowledge about what he's going to do and what are the most basic notions in that sense. In this case, it is literally the same. You could find in your daily life, so to speak, that you could. Okay, sorry for going too fast. You could find in your daily life, for example, that it is more common and better for you to try and go over those things that you before really didn't find yourself being capable of doing, if you analyze what you really are capable of doing right now, and trying, as I said before, to analyze. For example, if you know how to drive or how to mount a bike, you might also know how to mount, or at the very least get up into a motorcycle, because at the end of the day they are, in a sense, the same concepts. In a sense, they aren't completely the same, but they can be almost transferable one to the other. There are some parts that are lost, some parts that are replaced by other, more useful, more simpler, more different. but it doesn't mean that if you know or if you do not know how to do any of those, you might never try to do so. That is also another part of this. As long as you understand the possibilities that you have at hand, so to speak, in this case, you might also find yourself interested in trying those things that before different kind of situations ended up showing or telling to you they were not worthy doing, trying, or anything like that. In these cases, as I said before, you might as well want or find yourself more inclined towards trying new things than to not trying anything at all. Why? If the possibility itself is not harmful, not only not to you but also not to others, it might as well be worth a shot. In this case, I will say the only real problem is having a concept developed enough about what is really good, not only to you but to others, or at the very least, correctly develop about what is harmful to you. Because, for example, if you think that you are completely okay to go into a casino, for example, and you do not understand that almost every single human has the possibility of ending up in the claws of a system that literally preys on the idea of you getting addicted to that, you might not understand that. Oh yeah, I am going to get here, I will do 3 rolls, 3 spins, 3 cash outs, and I will be fucking rich, babe. You know what? This is so easy. No, it doesn't work like that. You also need to have different kind of concepts and different parts of approximations to the topics that you want to try, or the ideas, the concepts, I don't want to say realities, because at the end of the day, the only complete reality is the one we live in. Whatever we do in it is the different kind of realities, but well, you can also say realities if you feel like. Basically that. You need to analyze how capable or not you are of doing some things, and you might also find yourself or find in the action of trying different things a kind of satisfaction, because you are also letting yourself go to those places, so to speak. It might not make complete sense at first, because, okay, complete random idea. If you never in your life did even something similar to bungee jumping, you might as well be interested in that. Because, for example, bungee jumping, something that we kind of tend to forget when we only think about the scary thing about jumping into the void, it is that not only you are not doing it by yourself, you have professionals that give you a rope, you have the rope itself that is literally designed to never break in a way, and there are a lot of different factors playing along the safety of your process and the also correctness of everything going well. It is in a part, yes, you always need to take a decision to, in this case, go bungee jumping, but on the other hand, it isn't so solely reliant on your actions. It is rather an open course that you might or might not take. And if you take it, you might also find different and new things in yourself. Because, and in this case, going a little bit deeper, kind of the same thing that will happen with parachuting or recreational parachuting, I think it is named. The idea that you try different things and find if they really are something that you like or not might as well give you a possibility, as in a sense an edge about how much you really work, how you find yourself inclined to certain things and stuff like that. The only thing I will say is you might as well, unless you really, and I cannot. Okay, well, I can. We have 42 minutes. Okay, let me over explain myself. If you were to dedicate your whole, for example, a whole, at the very least, month into completely learning, understanding, developing your mind, accepting the different concepts that there are and the different possibilities that exist into, for example, trying different kind of drugs, and also the different kind of bad effects that they will have unequivocally in any single human body, as well as the possibilities of any single human ending up addicted, and also how the different addictions of different kind of drugs end up developing in your body, and how you are also capable of identifying if you are already feeling the edge or not, or for example, if we are going to speak about things like that, if you were to find an interest in especially trying the white powder, you might also understand that it is almost very common for every single first timer to also feel the desire not to take one blast, so to speak, but after 5 or 10 minutes also feel the necessity almost of doing a second, a third, a fifth attempt. So if you are really going to devote your time into understanding and completely grasping how damaging those things can be, I am not saying you should, but the possibility is there. If you are going to dedicate your time correctly enough, the possibility of also testing how different drugs work in the human body, using yourself as an experiment, so to speak. We are not saying that this is something we want to do, but if you understand what you are doing, you might as well do it. And as I said, yeah, the other side in both cases, not only in the drug case, but also in the parachuting, bungee jumping and things like that, you might also learn that there is always a possibility of, in a sense, rationally thinking your way to death, so to speak. Why? Because one of the most common things, if you utilize drugs in a non-recreational way, but rather because you are pursuing, so to speak, a career development or an enhanced career development, because, for example, you are taking those substances that increase your mental capacities, let's say, you might also understand that not only it comes with a risk, it also gives you by itself different kind of damages. And if you really want to keep that, so to speak, train going for a long period of time, you might not even completely grasp how damaging they are going to be, because nobody in their sane senses will really say, you know what, I will do this for a month. Sometimes we're not even going to speak for a year, for a fucking month. So yes, if you really feel like you understand what you're getting into, you might try it, but also you need to have, on the other hand, the knowledge about what you're really getting yourself into, because as I said before, that is with the drugs. With literally sports and recreational activities, it is also common to find yourself doing things that someone who is not so obsessed or not so into it might not even commit. Because something completely funny that happens with, for example, scuba diving, parachuting or recreational parachuting and things like that, is you get so accustomed to these different sensations that give you those activities and the different edges that make you or give you those activities, that you end up forgetting about the most important parts about them. For example, as I said before, parachuting, there is literal people who forgets to fucking open the parachute at time. Why? Because their brain got so accustomed to the risk itself that in a certain moment, after a certain threshold, you say, you know what, we are so happy, and you literally crash to your death. So yes, you might as well also need to understand that, because as I said before, it not only happens with parachuting by itself, it might also happen with bungee jumping, on with bungee rope. The possibility of being you yourself who decides how long or how short is going to be the rope, and at the end of the day committing the fatal error of putting a rope that is so long, you say, you know what, I want to be as close as possible to the ground. Yes, I want to experience it. I want to experience as close as I can be to the ground, because I want to touch it with my hand. You might end up literally dying. As I said before, another complete example is those people who do scuba diving. A possibility very existent into you is the forgetting how incredibly important it is to go to the surface, to once again inhale fucking air. Why? Because after, not only after a certain point of being underwater, but also if you go so, or well, yeah, in a sense, so much underwater, your body literally is not able to keep going on. And in those moments, if you are, so to speak, a newbie, you might find yourself aware of those things. But when you let your confidence get the best of you, it does not give you, or it does not take from you only a happy experience. It might literally kill you. So yes, you need to be aware also about what you are going to try. For example, okay, another different kind of example. If you want to understand that, for example, it is right, so to speak, let's say like this, it might be interesting to try and play a role in the whole playground that is the market of shares, values, and the whole versatile enterprise. You might think it is okay to play, but if you do not really know what you are doing, you will literally end up losing all your savings. So that is why you need to understand what is good, in a sense, as if you are able to try it or not, and in the other hand, you need to understand also what might come from trying it, and what might come from the idea of somehow saying, you know what, we might as well lose every single thing if we go wrong on this. If you do not understand that, you might as well, so to speak, take a step back and not even try to keep going on. Why? There is no real reason to do that if you do not understand what you are getting into. Nobody will really push you into anything. And just in case, if you are being pushed into taking any kind of thing about what I mentioned by somebody else, you might as well want to rethink about how your relationships work, just in case. But well, at the same time, you're hearing a potato talk to you, so you do you, my brother. So yeah, that's it. I was drinking a little bit of water. Now we are going to the timestamp. ABC, TT. Okay, TT. Now, next topic. I have to. Sorry. Okay, there it is. I was holding the mic incorrectly. My brain said, no, you need to hold it correctly. You need to hold it correctly. So sorry. Now, real next topic. The daily necessary cleanse of the ego. Fucking god. Sometimes I really create kind of clickbaity titles, and not because they are clickbaity by themselves, but because I try to convey as many as I can, as much as I can, in simple words, so to speak. So yes, the daily necessary cleanse of the ego title, pretext, or where it came from. This one specifically came from the personal realization of how, in a sense, useful it is for anybody to detach from the parts that, as we are going to discuss, become hurtful or become negative from having such a developed or encumbered ego. Why? Because now, going really into the topic itself, the daily necessary cleanse of the ego. Let's say like this. Everybody has an ego. You cannot clean from your humanity the ego. It is physically impossible to remove it completely. What you can do is learn how it works, and you can also understand, in a sense, how it really applies to you. Because if you try to place your mind directly into the whole concept of the ego, you will find how in different areas of your life you are, so to speak, surrounded by your own ego. You are only there because your ego is the one who tells you, you might as well do this, only do that, only focus on these things, on those. Why? Because, let's say like this, if you have never trained yourself to understand how your ego works, you are in a sense driven not by your ego, because in other sense everybody is driven by their own ego. In this case, we're talking about the concept of being driven by the whole negative part of the ego that is placed in every single one of us, that is placed in the desire of only doing things by ourselves for the sake of ourselves, and because we ourselves want to gain something from it, and we may not even try to give anybody else something back. Why? Why will that, in any case, in any possibility, or in any sense, be something that you will want to do, so to speak? You might see it like this. If you have the possibility of not only learning but also cleaning the parts that tend to be more negative in your whole self, you find the incredible, completely incredible parts that come with life. Why? Because if even in some senses, ego serves the purpose of being a barrier to the exterior. In other parts, it also only serves the purpose of being a blocking to the outside. Why? Because not every kind of censorship that a not so developed ego makes is correct. We have to understand that part, so to speak. And if you accept it or try to see it as a possibility, you start slowly but surely, as I like to say, comprehending how everything falls into its correct place, so to speak. Why? You do not completely need to be so, in a sense, bad, or not bad, sorry, because those who do not have a developed or cleansed ego are rather not bad, are simply idiotical, so to speak, in the most natural way to say it. Not because you are an idiot, therefore you are someone who is dumb, but because you are an idiot. Why? Because you literally cannot move your mind from the only possible answer that comes to you, and you never try to grasp anything different than what lies directly in front of you, or in this case what your ego tells you to be, or what reality really is. So if you start developing a habit of leaving behind the most toxic traits that the ego has, you also start to see how incredibly, in a sense, useful it is to not be so entwined with those desires, with those parts of you, and with those completely obnoxious creations, we could say, of arrangements and different arrays that are created on the behalf of your own sake. And why is it necessary, we will say? Because at the end of the day, even if I have said you gain anything, if you maintain your ego, you might not lose anything. We will try to say, okay, yes, we are going to take it from there. Why would it be necessary? Is it really something to lose if you do not clean your ego, or you do not underdevelop your ego, so to speak? You might see something very interesting, and that is not only that, as I said, right now, underdevelop your ego, you find not similarities, but something kind of particular, because in those untrained egos, there is people who have them on one side completely egotistical, so to speak, those who are, in a sense, all self-centered and only want things for them, and are always striving for what they desire and what they want to become, what they want to see, so do, talk about things like that. You might also find the other opposite side of this, those poor people, in a sense poor, that because they never really understood, they have always the possibility of saying no and going against the desires of others, end up being chained to what other different egos, who in a sense are more self-centered, tell them to do. So, yeah, that's why I said you need to develop a good ego. It is weird, so to speak, because it does not come only from the side of leaving aside those things that are egotistical, but also you need to develop it from the side of understanding if you might also as well be the other side of the coin, so to speak. You might not completely see that, as I said before, you are letting yourself be swayed by what other tells you. You might not be comprehending that it is painful by itself, but if you understand this, you also realize something very beautiful. If, to a certain extent, you do not have an ego that tells you what you really want to do, you end up being literally a slave of other people's dreams, and not in the sense that you work for them, but because you end up making other people's dream become real. As in, for example, I had a kid and I wanted my kid to become a doctor, and he did so because I really played my role so well. It might be in one hand true, but we might have to analyze that in the sense of, is every single kid or every single actual doctor who decided to become one because their parents said so completely, so to speak, good in that sense? Isn't it that because somebody else told you that you need to do this and you never really stopped to ask you the question of, is this something that I desire or something that because somebody else told me I should desire, I will really strive for? So if you have the possibility of grasping that concept, you start to see how in some cases, as we have discussed before, you really end up being acceptant of the concept or the things that come from the outside and integrate them to your own life as if they were of yours, so to speak. And also something that in the other side, so to speak, a hope that can be obtained from having a developed ego is the idea of not only you understand what you want to let go and abandon the past, so to speak, you also have the possibility in every single human, this one is something that applies to every single human, the possibility of seeing that you sometimes might want to, so to speak, let things in. Why? Because even, for example, even if you know that something will hurt, if you have the possibility or if you feel like really trying to process certain things, the outcome of that is more rewarding than what will lie ahead of you by not trying it or by ignoring it, so to speak. For example, something that in a sense is kind of exaggerated but might as well serve the purpose of this specific example is, if you think that you shouldn't really need to work your body and observe the different things that happen, and out of nowhere you get let's say a weird obstruction on your hand, or a weird not tumor, a weird sting on your hand, and you let your own ego tell you, you know what, this is completely normal, we don't have any need to go to the doctor, we literally should not seek any help, we are going to deal this by ourselves. If you let that happen, you might also find that you might as well, if you never paid attention to that as one should do, and by doing that you literally find or die because that was possibly a cancer or something like that, if you have the possibility in this case of having to a certain extent a developed ego that lets you say, okay, I cannot deal with this myself, and even if it doesn't hurt, I might need to go to a doctor just in case something is happening, so to speak. If even the minimal possibility of that being true, you do not pay attention to your not your ego, but you do not develop your ego to accept that possibility, you will end up really losing a lot of things in your life. Why? Because it is another part of the ego, in this case, that lies in ourselves. If you accept that some things might need to be done not alone, you will really find how beautiful it is to work on them. As I said before, not alone. Why? Not every single problem is only solvable by the human who has them. Even if 90% of them are, so to speak, even if you combine yourself of that, it also shows you that there are some things, very particular things, that will really need you to accept help from others, so to speak. So yeah, I think I don't have anything else to say. Just in case, let me do a little bit of a mental skimming. Oh yeah, I think I don't have anything else to say about it. The conclusion is everybody needs to work it, because what you gain from it is incredible. It doesn't mean that only those who see themselves as egotistical need to work it, because in a sense, being egoless is also a problem of the ego. It isn't completely okay to be egoless. So you need also to analyze yourself for that, if you haven't done so, and if you understand that, I don't know, tell it what. Yeah, basically, but not only on the sense of self, but on the idea of not letting yourself limit you in any way. Good night, Vita, good night. Let me... Okay, timestamp will be 1:40. Necessary. Fucking shit, I wrote it incorrectly. Necessary inclusion. Okay, take this. Well, kind of late, but it doesn't matter. Okay, next topic. We have the addictions that we accept as the next title. In this case, we are not really talking about anything by itself special, because fucking dogs. In this case, the little preface of this would be, we kind of talked about it before, but in this case we're not talking about it as not understanding them, but rather in the sense of responsibility that we should feel, so to speak, about it. So with that said, let us really get into the topic. Once again, title: the addictions we accept, and just in case, as always, you might find that even if I do not try to make it like that, it might be hurtful to hear. I do not care. That is my real point of view. If it hurts, it might be because it is true. I don't know. But well, as I said before, we are going to talk about it from the point of view of there is different people who has different kind of addictions, and we could say like this: it is not that we possess the complete responsibility of saving others from what they are suffering, so to speak. In this case, we are going to give it. Give me a second. There it is once again. I dropped the mic. I didn't notice. In this case, we are not speaking about the possibility of not understanding, so to speak, the parts, or not seeing what is an addiction, because in nowadays society, as in a sense we talked before, you have the possibility of being completely informed about almost anything. Let's say, for example, that the only thing you might not really have a possibility of, in a sense, saying, okay, this completely works this way, is on experimental stuff, but I don't think almost anybody here will have the possibility of trying that. So, starting from there, something kind of funny is the part of those who like to really shield themselves in the idea of, but you know what, it is it that, for example, I buy a certain drug that is made by a certain pharmaceutical company, and because that pharmaceutical company has no information, I might as well not have the possibility of understanding what it does to me. Yes and no, my brother. Yes and no. If your kind of compound medicine is in a certain way named anything that you could literally search on fucking Google, for example, one of the most utilized search engines, and you can literally find pages and pages and pages of what those things do to the human body. It isn't that, oh no, there is no information about this medicine. It is that you literally decided to sit your ass on the chair and say, no, you know what? I will not take responsibility of this, and I will not accept that I might as well not understand what is going to happen to my body. In a sense, as we have done before, you kind of let go of that real responsibility that in this particular case you have with yourself. Because even if the excuse is that there is no specific information on that company's drug, there is always certain information existing on almost any kind of drug sold on a pharmaceutical place, be it the cheapest one, the one that costs the most, the one that is the hardest to get, whatever the fuck you want to say. There is always ways to get information about things. If you are not willing to put the time, it is not my problem. Okay, that is the first part to say about this. Now, what really matters is not saying, okay, this guy is literally telling me that I need to understand this, okay? No, because as I said before, you might shield yourself behind that argument, but in other cases, you are already doing that. Because, for example, let's say, okay, let's say like this, this is going to be a conversation between the actual me and the past me. If you feel somehow that I am referring to you, do not worry, this is completely false. Okay, with that preface, let me say it like this. Now, for real, if you see that you're spending your time meaninglessly, if you see that what you're doing has literally zero purpose behind, if what you are doing literally is damaging your body, if whatever you are deciding to engage in literally gives you nothing back, or not only does not give you nothing back, and you can shield yourself in the argument of, well, at the very least I am not losing anything. No, my brother, if you are even fucking losing, spending your beautiful, precious time in the earth by doing meaningless things, it is not my responsibility to, in this case, have to show you how to go out of it. You kind of have to understand it by yourself. If you decide to never take action and to never leave those addictions behind and to never, so to speak, change from that, you cannot really, in a sense, grow almost in any way. Why? Because you really need to see that you are accepting a lot of things that are doing bad to you, that are not only not giving you anything back, but are also taking from you. Because, as I said before, you might have the argument of, oh, okay, you know what, this literally doesn't cost me anything, it is free, therefore it is good. No, if it only costs your time, or even if it only costs your time, it is already costing something. Let's say like this, what's really good for you is what doesn't even exist in your life, okay? We can say it like that. But if it is already consuming your time and you gain nothing from that, you are accepting something that is damaging your whole not life quality, because sometimes you might find comfort in those things, but it's damaging your whole possibilities of being something in a sense better, because as I have said here, it isn't that we are doing this for the sake of being or becoming devoid of any meaning. No, it is because you always have the possibility of searching something that is better. And if you decide to angle yourself to something so banal as literal entertainment for the sake of entertainment, I don't know what to really tell you, my friend. If you really decided that that is the way to go, okay, you do you, as I like to say, you do you, but you need to, at the very least, what I was trying to go here, or what I was trying to go for here, you need at the very least to have in mind the concept of I will be spending my time on this, and I will need to accept how much I am going to lose by doing this, because it is not only from the realization of you spending time, but also from the acceptance of what you're leaving behind. And in a sense, you need to live or to not engage in the activity of getting depressed, because if you already know what you're going to do is bad and you anyways decide to do it, you might as well do it until, let's say like this, it kills you. Be it whatever you want, whatever you decided was better than to literally becoming someone better, okay? Nobody never is forcing you to do anything. Therefore, you might as well kill yourself as fast as possible. Why? Because you know what? I enjoy so much playing League of Legends, and also I enjoy to really buy skins, and I enjoy to have my Valorant account full of the most beautiful and precious skins, and I do not care if I do not have the money to go out with my friends and enjoy a great time with them. I instead really have a lot of valor in spending fucking money on virtual assets that I will never be able to utilize in any other sense. Or I don't even have friends nowadays because I ended up losing my whole life in things like that. If you accept it, you will at the very least become free from the realization of later on what you did to yourself. But it is more hurtful to accept that you are literally spending your time and that you are deciding to keep on it than to at the very least try, even if, and let me say it very clearly, it is a fucking social construct that we say late. Nobody's fucking late to anything. No fucking body. As long as you're alive, you're not fucking late to go back from those kind of actions, from those kind of pathways. As long as you're able to notice that you are doing something bad, so to speak, and you have the possibility of changing, you are completely fine. And as I said before, if you are willing to keep doing what you know is hurtful to you or is not as productive, you might as well also understand how hurtful it is for you, for those around you, and incredibly damaging for the whole array of things that involve your life to keep going on, or involve your life to keep being as good as they are, so to speak. Also, in this case, we can even kind of say how limiting it shows that you are deciding to keep being someone who does literally nothing, let's say. So yes, you can do whatever you want with your life, but you shall accept that. You shall accept what you are doing. In this case, that is the message. If you do not accept what you are doing, you might as well not do it. Why? We always have the beautiful possibility of changing whatever it is we are doing. So you are free to do whatever. No, I don't think I have almost anything else to say. So yes, let me let me add this. that was sufficient enough for today. There it is. And well, in this case they are kind of semi-related and at the same time kind of, what is it, casually related or coincidentally related, as it kind of tends to happen with the whole list of things that I wrote. I didn't mean for them to be so related sometimes, or I didn't, at the very least, I didn't choose them when I did this particular streaming list to be so related. But well, you know what? We're going to take a break because I need to go to the fucking bathroom. So, break. I just noticed that I had to go to the bathroom. I was kind of entwined in rambling about myself, let's say. So yeah, let me go to the fucking bathroom. Pim. Okay, we're back. How much did it take me? Fucking 3 minutes. I am beautiful. Well, more like how many? 4 minutes. Fucking god. Okay, there it is. I think I don't have anything else to do, so let me go back to this stuff here, fuck, here, okay, there it is. Now we really have everything. So, as I was going to talk about, we'll have only the last topic for today, and that is the shadows we fear. The title, preface of the topic was kind of, in a sense, as we kind of discussed before, it kind of commonly happens that we really deal with things that we really like. And what the fuck? Why is my mic so low? What is going on? Okay, sorry. I had a kind of a moment, you know. I wasn't checking my mic. I was seeing other things. Sorry. Well, as I was saying, as we have things that we really enjoy, we have also things that we really fear. And why we are going to talk about things that we fear if we already, in a sense, know that we fear them? Because in this particular case, we are kind of facing it from the perspective of how interesting it is to see why certain things or certain so common problematics appear in, okay, let me say it like this, at the end of the day, in the human mind, basically. Why it is so incredibly captivating to see that somebody is dealing with something, or that ourselves in a closer reality we have to deal with certain things. So, as I said before, that is the preface. Now, once again, title, The Shadows We Fear, and really now into the topic itself. We have commonly in life a lot of things that we fear, and let me say it like this. If you haven't really seen how true it becomes that what we fear the most is those things we do not completely comprehend, you might as well want to, so to speak, live right here, work on that, and come back to hear this in a later time. Why? Because you really see that those certain things we really, as a whole humanity, we will even say, fear is those things we completely do not know. Why? Because let me give you 3 different examples. One is the kind of, for every single age, the fear of death. The second one, is the one that you kind of have when you are a young kid, the fear of the dark, and the third one is a fear that you kind of sense only when you are in some ways an adult, the fear of going out, so to speak, or the fear of being in an open street, and in an open empty street. Okay, let us go from those 3 examples into why every single one of those is something that we fear. Because in a sense, every single person finds themselves at a certain given point of their life fearing those things. So now, the first one is, let's start with the fear that you have when you are a kid, the fear of darkness. And the fear, I think it is kind of common to already know it, but it comes because you literally do not even understand what might be lying in the darkness. And even when you are a kid, you also, in a sense, lack the comprehension of, even if I am in my own house, something weird might appear out of nowhere, or something weird might try to do to me bad stuff and things like that. It is only in the realization of not only you being in a place that in some senses is secure enough, but also in those possible cases where it happened that in reality there was something not completely in the darkness, but because of simple trauma that we developed through the infancy, that we end up attributing to the whole darkness, that almost sacred status of something that really deserves to be feared. When you do not comprehend what you have in front of you, you really find it to be something terrifying. So, if you slowly start developing in your mind the idea and the concept of, well, as I said before, even if I am, or because I am in my own house, and in a sense I know it from memory, and I am somehow able to drive myself, even with every single light shut off freely or almost freely because I can kind of sense my way around and things like that, I might also understand how possible or how easy it will be for me to notice if something is out of the normal way, if something is eerie, so to speak, if I should or if I had heard anything, how will I react, and things like that. Only when you develop different concepts and different answers to those problems, you really also understand that they are not so much fears but rather problems to solve. In this case, we kind of went over, as I said before, the concept of fear. Now we shall move to the second one. I said when you are an adult, but I will rather say like this. When you are a youngster, basically, because you can also somehow solve it, and that is the concept of being out in a street completely alone. Why? Because when you, in a sense, know that out in the wild, so to speak, because somehow you see it as a wild, even if it is a city, an environment that is completely regulated by laws, not only of traffic but also of different behaviors that humans should have and things like that, and for example concealed or not even carrying any kind of weapon and things like that. Even if you know things like that, you also fear what might happen when you are a youngster, as I said before, because you might not completely understand and might not completely see that, for example, even if you are walking alone, you might think of the possibility of out of nowhere getting stabbed or getting robbed or getting completely isolated from society and disappeared or things like that. Why? Because you haven't completely developed the idea of there are a lot of things that should happen for something like that to go so incredibly wrong. There is, in a sense, the possibility of that happening, but it will not only not be so dramatical as you make it in your mind, but it also is in some ways something that you can kind of see before it really happens. Because one of the few things that almost every single person who knows how to drive themselves in their own city is where are those streets that you can go to and where are those streets that you should by every single mean avoid. Or not only streets, blocks, whole departments, whatever it is. You know where are those places that are dangerous by themselves and where are those places that you can go. If you rationalize those different parts of the concepts that give you fear, that in a sense paralyze you and that make you really think that you are unable to act, you find the possibility of solving not only the problem but also the reality, so to speak, that was before something really terrifying and now something that you can work around. Because even if it might be a possibility, you might avoid to going out of the street, for example, at 3 a.m. because it is commonly one of the hours where every single street is the emptiest. Therefore, if you do not want to be in the street alone, you might as well not go out so fucking late at night, for example. Thank you, Bunkum, and hello. So yes, that is one example. One of the, well, that in reality is the second example. I think it really is, in this case, time to... Okay, right now we are literally on the last topic, the shadows we fear, and we are kind of talking about the different examples of things that we fear throughout life. We went over the concept, two different concepts. The first one was the idea of the darkness, one kind of fear that mostly humans have until they grow, so to speak, a little bit, because you can almost always rationalize your way out of it. Then we speak about the fear of going out into the street or being in the street alone, so to speak, because it is also something that you can rationalize. Um, do not worry, as I always say, thank you for being here. You can always rationalize your way around it because there are a lot of different solutions. It might be possible that you find yourself alone in the street, but you should, in some sense, for example, understand that you shouldn't be completely fear-stricken and almost chicken out or literally stay frozen on the street because you are alone or things like that. And also the different parts as to why it happens. And now, in a very dreadful way, we are approaching the most beautiful fear that almost every single human faces, the fear of death. So yeah, completely chill talking, you know. So yeah, without further additions, let's go into the concept of why it is, in this case, that the one of the biggest shadows we fear is the concept of death. So, well, I think it is, in a sense, kind of common for every single human to find it terrifying. Mostly, as we have been talking before, because you, as a mortal being, how will you know what really happens after death if you do not have any kind of proof about what happens? You really are going to be until that problem gets resolved or your mind directly gets broken, so to speak. You will always have to deal with the concept of not knowing with what will happen to you, if your life carries any meaning at all, if what you did was at any point really worthy, so to speak, because you have literally no concept as to what is going to happen after you die, because you can, so to speak, do that experience only once. It is not a travel that you can freely do. It is literally a one-way trip. If you die, that's it. You're literally there. And something that, for example, when you are trying to rationalize the possibilities that lie in dying, you also try, for example, to understand or find the proof that even those who say they died give not no complete signs of having died at all, but rather some parts of them were gone, yes, but some others might as well not have completely stopped. For example, there is a common kind of, and thank God it isn't common, sorry for saying that, that disease that makes some people's hearts completely stop out of nowhere to the point where they seem to literally have died, and even those people can tell you that they didn't die. They went into a kind of coma, they went to a kind of experience different to dying. Nobody can really tell you what happens if you die. So, if you don't find in life a meaning behind what lies after this experience, so to speak, you in a sense really live in the fear of dying, and you in a sense really live in the fear of what will happen to you after, before, or because you die. So, in those cases, as I said before, there is always a possibility of finding different ways to rationalize it. In this case, that one is a kind of very political thing or a very controversial thing, because it isn't that there is no complete proof about things, but rather you need to convince yourself completely about what you think, and you need to almost not question it so much, because almost any single argument that exists against what will really happen when we die, aside from the part of losing the life in this actual body, has no real way to analyze it. So you might as well try your best to find something that suits your beliefs, that suits what you think, how you view the world, as to, in this case, what will happen when you die. Because, as I said before, if you are so worried about this problem, it might as well only accelerate the arrival of it. Why? Because it is a conundrum one of those beautiful conundrums in life. So yes, we have a lot of fears in this case, as we have been discussing. I gave literally only 3 different examples, and as I said before, the concept here is to understand. Mostly what we really fear is not those things that we understand how they work, but rather those that we fear because we do not comprehend what might happen to us. And in this case, I want to live with this, okay? The fact that you know something is dangerous might as well not need to give you fear. You are aware of the danger of something, for example. You are aware that, for example, you shouldn't go into a jungle by yourself because it is dangerous. You literally might lose your life. But it doesn't mean that you should be fear striking every single time somebody says jungle or anything like that. Because you kind of already know where is the danger and where, in this case, you at the very least should draw the line between the fear and the irrational fear. So yeah, I think that's a good way to finish the sentence in this case. So I don't think I have anything to say so far. And also, even if I haven't feeling completely high, I still need to go to sleep, so we're rounding up around here. So yeah, no, we're doing the most 100. No, in reality, I haven't been really thinking about anything. I think I did one for the 50th stream. I think I am not so sure, but well, I was going to say I would like to do a little bit of something special, but I don't think by 100 stream we are going to have the mic here yet. Just in case, as I said before, the microphone is estimated to arrive between the 17th and the 23rd of this month, so well, fuck in that sense. But anyways, at the very least I was already able to buy it, so yeah, we will see what happens. What we will probably, or we will really celebrate is the new mic arrival, nothing else. Or well, I don't really see a meaning in celebrating for the sake of celebration. So yeah, that. But well, Munkum, any other question? I mean, I am all ears, you know. Well, do not worry, it wasn't in reality 100 rambles. I think they are only like at the very best 50 or something like that, because taking into account that I did a lot of, well, maybe if we count the sanity cultivations they are 55, but I did, before really rambling, I did a lot of gaming. I still nowadays do art. I react to videos. We might, if we count the videos that I watch, you might say that they are in a sense rambles, but I personally do not count them as real rambling, mostly because I tend to extract information from there, yes, but at the same time, I don't know, I am not so to speak obtaining anything or really going by myself about anything, so I don't know. But well, yeah, that. let me search for somebody to say it. Let me see who is it that we shall try to invade today. Oh no, invade. Kankuro, I think I never raided, or well, since I have this list, I haven't raided Kankuro. Let me check. Okay, I found. What? Raid? There is a problem. I don't really. I hope it is a meme. I don't remember where the riff is from. It's from. all I can give you is it comes from a K-pop song probably, or something like one of those basically. A boy band. No, it isn't that I completely do not know. If somebody were to give me the song, I will know. But actually, I do not know. I already forgot. That is the way to say it. So yes, pain. Okay, let me here. Let me lay calculo. So as always, meanwhile, thanks to every single person, thanks to all of those who came here, those who chat, those who said nothing, those who lurked, those who here, those who muted the stream, thanks to every single one. Thanks as always also those who really like to watch the bots later. Every single one. Thanks. Really thanks. Nowadays, this is incredible. I kind of not say it so much, but it is going very great. So yes, truly thanks. Now, goodbye. Next time, probably tomorrow early stream. So we will see what the fuck I'm going to do tomorrow. Goodbye. Right.